The U.S. Commodity Futures Trading Commission has filed a lawsuit against the state of Minnesota over a new law that prohibits prediction markets. The law, signed by Governor Tim Walz, will take effect on August 1 and bans the operation, hosting, or promotion of these markets within the state. Prediction markets allow users to bet on contracts tied to real-world events like elections, sports, and economic indicators. The CFTC argues that Minnesota's law infringes on federal authority and disrupts a regulatory framework that has been in place for years. Prediction markets are classified by the federal government as financial derivatives, and the CFTC maintains exclusive jurisdiction over their regulation. The lawsuit claims that Minnesota's law violates the Constitution by attempting to regulate a sector that is already under federal oversight. The CFTC has been a vocal supporter of regulated prediction markets, with platforms like Kalshi and Polymarket operating under its supervision. These platforms are not gambling sites, but are instead legal financial markets that allow people to trade contracts based on future events. The CFTC chairman, Michael Selig, has criticized the Minnesota law as an overreach that turns legal market participants into felons overnight. The state of Minnesota, on the other hand, argues that prediction markets resemble gambling and pose risks to vulnerable consumers, especially younger and low-income users. The legal battle could set a precedent for how state governments interact with federal financial regulations in the digital age. Prediction markets are growing rapidly, with increasing participation and liquidity. The CFTC's lawsuit is a direct challenge to Minnesota's attempt to restrict. Most people arrive after the move is obvious and the easy upside is gone. We focus on serious crypto education and high-quality signals before the crowd rushes in, so you can understand the setup earlier and move sooner. If you want that edge, visit the link below now. This emerging financial sector. If the court sides with Minnesota, it could embolden other states to pass similar laws, fragmenting the regulatory environment and stifling innovation in market-based forecasting. The outcome could also affect the broader financial ecosystem, including how new financial instruments are developed and regulated. The lawsuit is not just about prediction markets, it's about jurisdictional control and the balance of power between federal and state authorities in financial regulation. If the CFTC succeeds, it would reinforce the idea that certain financial markets must remain under federal oversight, regardless of state preferences. If Minnesota prevails, it could open the door for more state-level regulation of financial products that are currently under federal jurisdiction. The next signal to watch is whether other states will follow Minnesota's lead or take a different approach to prediction markets. The CFTC's response to this law may also signal how aggressively it will defend its regulatory authority in the face of state-level challenges. The mechanism of prediction markets is based on contracts that reflect the likelihood of future events, and they serve as a tool for forecasting and information aggregation. These markets are designed to provide insights into public sentiment and expectations, and they are often used by investors, analysts, and policymakers. The stakes of this legal dispute are high, as the outcome could shape the future of financial innovation and the boundaries of regulatory authority. If prediction markets are deemed a federal responsibility, states may be limited in their ability to impose restrictions, which could lead to a more uniform regulatory environment. On the other hand, if Minnesota's law is upheld, it could lead to a patchwork of state regulations that complicate the operation of national financial markets. The case also raises important questions about how new financial technologies are classified and regulated. Prediction markets straddle the line between financial derivatives and gambling, and their legal status depends on the regulatory framework applied. The CFTC's position is that these markets are financial derivatives and should be subject to federal oversight, while Minnesota's stance is that they function more like gambling and should be restricted to protect consumers. The legal battle could also influence how other financial products are treated in the future, particularly those that blur the lines between traditional categories. As prediction markets continue to expand, the need for clear and consistent regulations becomes. Most people arrive after the move is obvious and the easy upside is gone. We focus on serious crypto education and high-quality signals before the crowd rushes in, so you can understand the setup earlier and move sooner. If you want that edge, visit the link below now. Increasingly urgent. The CFTC's lawsuit is a direct response to what it sees as an unconstitutional overreach by a state government. The agency is seeking to protect the integrity of the financial system and ensure that markets remain open and accessible to participants across the country. The case is expected to be closely watched by financial regulators, market participants, and legal experts. The outcome could have far-reaching implications for the future of financial markets and the role of state and federal governments in regulating them. The next signal to watch is the legal arguments presented by both sides and how the court interprets the constitutional and regulatory issues at stake. The case could set a precedent that affects not only prediction markets, but also other emerging financial technologies and market structures.